4 to 3 to 2 to 1. We're live, everybody.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Road Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Too late.
So here we are.
There he is.
Here we are. So,
Four.
I said to you before we started,
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're going to do, so we should probably do that.
That's the best. That's always the
I
best
think
show.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's been quite a year.
Yes, it has.
All right, so let's throw some stones in the pond, shall we, and see what
Sure.
ripples we create. All right.
Yeah.
So I was thinking before we started this, or you know, what should we talk about? And I thought I'll put in some of my philosophies, some of my personal philosophies,
Sure.
for whatever the hell that's worth. Nothing really. They're worth
Right.
nothing. But I'm just going to put them in there, really. And it's kind of like a year in review show, I think. You know, just
Okay.
have a look back in the year and see what we've spoken about a bunch of really silly things. There have been elections all over around the world.
Yeah.
Everybody's elected, they've voted, they've whatever. And so my 5 cents worth is it's happened. You got to make peace with it, whether you were happy about it or not. It is what it is. My other thing would be, you got to stop worrying about what people think, including what we think. Don't worry about what we think. Doesn't matter
Oh,
what
no,
we think.
think's important. What we think's important.
Is
I agree
that
with you.
all right? All right. Well, okay. Well, asterisk. What we think is important, but everything else, don't worry about it. Okay. Look up, not down. Forwards, not backwards. Focus on yourself, not what other people think. Figure out what you actually know, which is actually you'll find is very little. Certainly, it's true of me. I know very little, and that's actually very satisfying for me. I think the fact that I know very little means that the world is my intellectual oyster, really, which is great. When you think you know everything, there's nothing for you to learn. So why get up? Why open a book? Why read anything? Because you've got it all figured out. And boy, there are so many people like that. And it always fascinates me that some of the smartest people that I've ever met are very humble about what they know, and most of them will say they know very little, and you will be sitting there going, no, you know so much. And as I've gotten older, I've realized, and I am getting older, like everybody is really.
Wow, you're getting older.
I know I'm not. I know. No, I'm not getting older. That's true. I'm not. So, and I'm actually here today because of painkillers. And as I said to you, Steve, before we started, put the back out. You know, a man of a certain age, as you said, has got to be very careful about what he does around the house and does so forth.
Masturbating. You gotta watch yourself.
It's true.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think we need to be intellectually humble. It's always the most talented people that are always the most humble. The smartest people are the quietest. The best people don't tend to tell you all about themselves. The ones with the real money, the people that have made proper money. Okay, there's a couple of exceptions to that rule, but people who've genuinely started with nothing,
right?
Nothing, as in zero. They've come from poverty. They've shoveled snow to get to school. Those people with nothing, with 10 dads and no mothers. You know those people.
Right.
Those people who've pulled themselves up by their jock straps? Is that the word?
You call it either jock straps or bootstraps. It just depends on
bootstraps. I like jock straps better. It sounds good. You pulled yourself by your jock straps, and they've made something of themselves, and they've done something. They tend, by and large, not to tell everybody what they've done.
Right.
Social media goes, oh, look what they've done. And they go, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about ideas. So that's really, I mean, that these are some of the stones I wanted to throw in. I remember years ago, Bill Gates, who is every conspiracy theorist's favorite target right now. I don't know what he did. He really pissed somebody off somewhere.
Right.
Probably made too much money. And yeah, that's a mistake, Bill. You probably shouldn't have made so much money. And I remember years ago, Barbara Walters once went to his fancy abode. This stuck with me about 30 years ago when he was 10 years old and worth $1 billion or more. Went to his house. God, I'm talking shit. Went to his house and said that she wanted to talk about his money. You know, Bill, you've done this. You've made money. And all he wanted to talk about, it struck me, was ideas, things he wanted to do and possibilities and how things might be. And it always struck me that a guy like that was more interested in talking about things, like imaginary things or visions.
Jeffrey Epstein, sure, he talked about that.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. What did he imagine Jeffrey Epstein in his dreams?
He's on the list. He was on the list. That's apparently why. This is what I read.
What list? Sorry, to be clear, what list? Sorry, so
you know who Jeffrey Epstein was, right?
Yeah, vaguely. Had some island and I had some parties there, apparently.
Yeah, Prince Andrew, the whole thing. But apparently, Bill, a lot of Bills, like Clinton, Gates, a couple others were on his guest list and the pictures, whatever. And apparently that's one of the reasons Mrs. Gates is no longer Mrs. Gates.
Oh,
yeah.
We don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know Melinda personally. And I don't know Bill. So I bumped into him a couple times over the years, but not like it's anything great shakes. It's like,
I actually know Melinda very well. And she said hi, by the way.
Hi, Melinda. So there you go.
But back to the other thing. Great ideas. There's so many people. Have you noticed how across all these social media things, particularly YouTube, every goddamn clip is how they're going to solve this problem, and no one has realized this, and we have found the only solution that Martian people have emailed to us via a submarine, and are going to be blown away by these facts that have just destroyed the naysayers. Every single thing. And we've often talked about how are people supposed to get the facts? How are they supposed to disseminate what is real and what is not?
The Simpsons.
You can't. You just can't. So don't worry about it. Just if you're going online like now, where you are, and you think there's some amazing truth that we have to offer, well, we don't. We don't. We literally do not have the answer to anything. Nothing. There are no truths here. I know it says vaguely true. It's actually zero true. There's no truth. Nothing.
No one's going to want zero true. So
that's right. But that's right. But it's. I think we've spoken about this in a grumpy old man kind of way before, and we said when we grew up there were things called, wait for it, books and libraries, and it was amazing, and newspapers with paper. It was extraordinary, and somehow these seem to. I still put it to you, there were more facts in those paper-filled pages. Wait. You know what I mean? Than the problem with electronic media, online stuff, is it's so fluid. By its very nature, it's adaptable and can be changed and edited and moved and then erased and replaced with something else. So it's not really set in stone. It's the exact opposite of being set in stone. So no one knows what the hell is going on. So my point, to summarize this, all these stones that I'm throwing in the pond, is believe nothing, really. Read and trust your gut and stop worrying what anybody else thinks, because they have access to the same non-facts that you do. So why would you listen to them? Anyway, Steve.
That was very nice. That was beautiful. That was a nice little rant for 9 minutes. That was great.
I was improving. I was freestyling. I was whatever it is.
You were laying down the personal philosophy. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to say Rob Vega lays down personal philosophy. and there'll be some shorts out of that. But really, I think everybody gets the news from The Simpsons, because The Simpsons predict the future. And I think that's where you get it from.
Yeah.
You watch The Simpsons and you learn. Yeah.
Not only the news, Steve, the future news. They
Yeah,
they
it's wild.
it, if you want to know what's going to happen, watch The Simpsons. In fact,
Yeah,
if you want to know what the next presidency is going to look like, go and watch The Simpsons. That'll
yeah.
tell you. That's
But they did it
that
like 10 years
they've
ago.
got it.
Like they're 10. They did. It's just they do. It's funny. They'll do these stories, and then
Yeah.
somebody, conspiracy theory guy, will go and throw it on YouTube or Instagram, going, "Look, The Simpsons predicted this and that, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, okay, it is what it is. What do you what do you want to do about it? I'm glad. I love The Simpsons. I remember that. I
Very good.
remember when The Simpsons was started out as a short on the Tracy Allman show.
Yeah, she's
It
great,
was a
by the way.
short. I remember that, and then like a year or two later, it became a television
I
series.
remember. I do.
And that's
That
a
was a
long
good show.
time
I used
ago.
to watch her. She's very
Tracy.
good.
Yeah,
She's very
yeah,
good.
she's funny. I like her. Yeah,
She used to
they're
do
all good.
what was her name? And Andrea and Angela Merkel.
Oh, yes, she did.
She did the
But she
most
did a whole bunch of people.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her Angela Merkel was like a
Uh,
Jamie Foxx Donald Trump. It was
yeah.
on
Yeah.
point. By the way, have you ever seen Jamie Foxx's Donald Trump?
No, I've never seen them together in the same room, so it
Haven't
leaves me a
you?
lot of
Well,
suspicion.
that's what you've never seen them exactly. You've never seen them together.
That's right. I'm thinking Jamie Foxx is Donald Trump.
Fake news, fake news, fake news. He is. No, really. I see he's made some more money out of his own personal tragedy, which is good luck to him. That was kind of interesting. But that being said, seriously, I think he's very talented. His Donald Trump impersonation is on point. But I will say this. I don't know if this is a judgment, but I mean, he had something that nearly killed him, apparently, and then he told nobody. Every conspiracy known to man was used to invent something that might have happened to him, from abduction to cloning to God knows what. And then eventually he did I haven't watched it. There's some special that's come out where he talks it all about. And I just thought, on one level, I think, well, that's pretty tasteless, mate. Come on, just tell people what happened. And on another, I think to myself, what a brilliant marketing tool. How do we know anything actually happened? You can make anything you like up. And that's what I mean about the fluidity of facts. We don't know that anything happened to him, but it certainly made for a great special, right?
Well, yeah, Netflix, right?
How do we
He's doing
know?
the Netflix thing. Yeah.
It's done. How do we know? And this is the question. You think to yourself, he doesn't look that different. He doesn't. For someone who went and knocked on the Grim Reaper's door, he looks
I don't know the
fine.
story, so okay. Yeah, okay.
Oh, apparently he was, because I don't really care. This is going to sound like I care, but he was sitting at home doing something and passed out, and then 2 weeks had gone by and he had grown a beard. That's why it felt like seconds to him. He passed out. Apparently he was in a coma and he was in a bad way.
Wow.
I actually don't know what happened to him. It's not really my business. I'm not going to watch a Netflix special to find out. Yeah. You know, Steve, if something happened to you, you'd go, this is what happened to me. Thank you very much for your concern. Move on. It's done. I'm fine.
And then I called Netflix and get a special, of course. So,
well, that's what he did.
Yeah,
that's what he did. He
Yeah.
was about to have, apparently he was about to have a press conference and tell everybody what happened. And his agent poked him in the ribs and said, hang on a second. I've got the guys from Netflix here. And they said, just pump the brakes on that. They've got an idea. So let's just cancel the press conference. Tell them you'll get back to them. Let's take this call. And they think they've got a great idea for you. Then apparently he went and had a meeting. They said, listen, our ratings are not good in December. We've had a bit of an issue. Subscribers, people faking usernames, and we need to boost the numbers. So tell you what, along with Squid Games, which is coming out, the second one, I should get some commission for that. We need you because obviously everyone's interested in what happened to you, Jamie.
Not really.
So go and write some shit. Write some shit. Are there any medical records? Good. Burn them. Some shit up. Make some shit up. You're really talented. Throw in some comedy. That's what you do. I mean, because people are concerned, and turn it into a comedy special. We were thinking, I don't know, an hour and a half tops. And that's going to be great for you. He has down payment of $10 million. That should get you writing. Have a nice day. Yeah, happy holidays.
Nice.
I don't know. It's possible.
You know what? We said it here on the internet. It's got to be true.
It has to. Of course, it's true. We just said it.
I know. It's like the
Yeah.
joke we have in the cigar show. We keep saying Donald Trump is going to end the Cuban cigar embargo, and Usman is hysterical because he's afraid he'll never get Cuban cigars. And then literally we put those out as shorts and the shorts explode. Usman finally had to tell him it was a joke. And we had one guy that literally tried to eviscerate us in a quote. He's like, "That's that." He was going through this thing, and we go realize everyone is in on the joke. His next comment was, "Oh, it's very funny." So it's one of those things. It's the same thing.
So let me ask you this: I'm not really. I don't smoke, and I mean, cigars smell nice, but I'm a smoker. But they're very stylish, and they look good in lounges.
They look good. They look good in
clad, with scantily clad women serving men drinks.
No, I don't. We don't. That's not a cigar lounge. That's a strip club. That's different.
Is that a strip club? But they use cigars? No cigars? Sorry.
I don't know what the laws are. I don't go to them. I don't know. Back in the day, they
you wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Okay, good, Steve.
I will say this: when I go to a gentleman's club, and I'm in an old school gentleman's club, which is a cigar lounge.
Right.
So in London, you have like Tom Tom and Number 6 and whatever. And in the States, you really don't have those kind. You have the Havana Club, which is very private, which I've been in a member and very nice.
Right.
It's just a different world. It's just you go and there's that brotherhood of everyone smoking a cigar. They don't care if you're smoking a $2 cigar or a $5,000 cigar. It's just that it's the camaraderie of a cigar. That's it.
What if you're sitting there? What if you're sitting there staring at everyone and you're not smoking a cigar? Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, they throw you out.
They throw you out with there.
Yeah.
Long as you're scantily clad server.
Right. So you take the girl and you go. No, I mean, most people that go into a cigar lounge or they're smoking a cigar. I mean, you got some people that won't because they just don't want to. But if they don't smoke, they're not going to go to a cigar lounge because unless you're wearing silk, you're going to come out smelling like cigar. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, you could walk in with one of those, those. Oh, guys. Hello, everyone.
Your clothing.
I want to be part of the brotherhood, but I don't like cigars.
Yeah, no.
Cut a brother some slack. Yes, how about that?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I know. We would just tell them to go back to San Francisco. Anyway. Hey now. We're here till Thursday. Don't forget to order the veal. But no, it's just the brotherhood. It's just one of those things where you just enjoy. And every Saturday when we do the cigar show, we have 3 guys from around the world, and we sit there for an hour to an hour and a half and just talk. Well, we have a sommelier, so he knows everything about cigars. So they just talk about cigars.
2 things.
Yeah.
1, I've heard the promo for that show is brilliant.
I love we need a new one for 2025 because they're changing the name from the Havana Cigar and Drink Show to Havana Saturdays.
Let me check my rates.
You check your rates.
How it look like? I'm going to double it from free to free.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. We'll have a script to you shortly. Our agent will talk to your agent. Our people will get together. We'll have lunch. But yeah, so we've decided to shorten the name because apparently people can't remember it, not even us. So we're just making Havana Saturdays. So we're going to
one other thing. Sorry, on that note.
Yeah.
Cigars.
Yeah.
Did you say there's because I said I'm not a cigar guy. I don't know the cigar, I don't know, etiquette and politics of cigars. You said there's I might have heard this. Is there an embargo against cigars coming from Cuba to the US?
Yeah, there's been since 1962, actually.
Okay. 1962. So, as someone who really doesn't give a shit, don't you think I've heard that Cuban cigars, again, don't know anything about cigars, are the best.
So there's
or no? Are they pretty good, right? They're pretty good.
They're good. There's some that are excellent. So what I tell people is this, and we've discussed this also on the other show. If you want flavor and not a lot of smoke, okay, that's a Cuban cigar because it's more flavorful, not a lot of smoke. It's good. If you like a little bit of flavor, but you like that I'm puffing away and it's just like I look like a chimney. That's going to be a non-Cuban cigar. The way
Right.
the Cuban, it's just a different thing.
So a Cuban cigar
Yeah.
is, it's like a guy talking proper facts, not so much bullshit. Whereas
Like that.
other cigars are people who know nothing and then just blow smoke.
Kind of, sort of. But I mean, you can still get some tasting notes out of even a
So,
non-Cuban and whatever. It's just
so my
the non-Cubans have more smoke.
right. So my larger point is, why does everyone still give such a shit about where those cigars come from?
So, yeah, and I've talked to Donnie, and Donnie is going to lift the embargo, and I'm going to become the cigar czar. So I'm very excited about that.
Right.
Free Cuban
Congratulations.
cigars. Yeah, thank you so much. So Cuban cigars for everybody. So I'm not
Not
sure
me.
why we still have the embargo, right? I mean, could we let the people swim over here? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, and come over on little boats. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, come on over. It's a free country. And
Somebody
then now
swims. That's too far to swim, I would imagine.
it's
Yeah.
well, if you're a strong
I
swimmer.
bet. It depends if you
And
want
what's funny
cigars
is
or not. Yeah.
you can take as a U.S. citizen, I can get on an American Airlines flight or a Southwest flight out of Fort Lauderdale, and I know there's an American flight out of Miami to Cuba, and I can go as a tourist. You just fill out your form. They still like the rumor is you can bring back a couple Cubans, and I'm sure they'll let you. I know that when I
Cigars as well.
travel. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, cigars, and because they put the Cubans in your suitcase, you just carry the cigars through. It's much better. I know when I travel to like
They're gonna go by boat, the Cubans, and you're
the
gonna bring
Cubans,
the
right? Because
cigars
they
and
don't
smoke.
like to fly. But
Okay.
I know when we travel to
Okay.
Dubai and London, we smoke Cubans there, but we don't bring them back because we don't.
Oh,
I
it
don't
just
want
seems really.
to.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not like
hoping
they're
that they lift
missiles
it.
or anything.
I don't see the reason for the embargo anymore. In fact, the joke we have is that we say, Donnie, since you don't like China this week, you'll love them next week, whatever it might be. You should lift the embargo because then all the Cuban cigars will come here, and no Chinese can have them anymore. So in London, what used to cost £20 now costs £75 because the Chinese population with money has come to London and they buy them not like one or two boxes at a time. They buy like, oh, you got 45 of those boxes? Okay. And they take them. And they're not just smoking them, they're starting to collect. So
Okay.
it's very interesting. But the cigars after a while, like I've got pre-embargo cigars from like 1959 from Cuba. I probably have a couple hundred. And I've smoked one. It's very nice, but it loses its flavor and it's not like a wine or a scotch that holds it for the next 500 years.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's a
like
little different.
people. It's like
Yeah,
people. They don't
at some
hold their
point.
flavor. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know,
And
it just seems really odd to me. I mean, of all the
yeah.
things to embargo, cigars. I mean, come on, you've got a base there and everything on the other side of the
It's
island,
60
don't you?
years ago already. It's like enough. It's not we're like at war with
But
them.
but seriously, you've got a. I mean,
Guantanamo Bay. Yeah.
yeah, I'm always fascinated by it because I'm a bit of a geography nerd and I
Yeah.
love seeing like islands. I love exploring all the islands around the world and seeing where all these
Right.
silly little islands are. And I remember the first time I came across Guantanamo Bay, and for some reason, I mean, because I don't know anyone there, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to travel there. It's not really on my list of places. It's not on a bucket list to go to Guantanamo Bay.
Right.
Okay, and I remember I was scrolling across Cuba, and boom,
Right.
Guantanamo Bay. And I somehow thought that would be like part of the Marshall Islands, some American controlled territory,
Right.
like far flung, still part of the US, like the Marshall
Mhm.
Islands or Guam or one of those, or Samoa, American Samoa, but still with an American flag,
Mhm.
American laws, under American control. And I
Right.
looked at this and thought, this is really odd. There's a piece of the island which is where they send all the bad people,
Right. Right.
but it's an island who they don't like. They don't want to. They don't even want to buy cigars from them. But we're going to have a base there.
Correct.
It seems so really odd. It's like Oh, sorry. I think I was getting so excited about my mic. It's
Right.
it's it's as if you sent your, I don't know, your rapists to the east coast of Russia somewhere.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
You would still surely, it would be part of the US. Why would you? And why Why would Cuba be okay with that? Is there something that I don't know? I
I'm
haven't see. I
assuming that
haven't
there's a
googled it. I
secret.
don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, whatever you
Do they
Google is
know? Does
probably
Cuba
wrong.
know? Sorry, does Cuba know that part of their tiny island is being
Yeah.
used for all the bad people America doesn't want or doesn't know
I'm
about?
assuming, and I'm also figuring that I'm assuming it's a deal we made back in the '60s with Russia and Cuba to prevent the nuclear war. Because when
Right?
Russia moves stuff into Cuba, we're there, and we're not really going to go to war. So I'm listen. I'm sure there's deals going on that we'll never know about,
It's just
but I'm
crazy,
still.
Steve.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. But to your point, yeah, like so we're on your island. We're like occupying it, so to speak, but we
We
can't
hate
get
you.
cigars.
We hate
Yeah,
you. We
we
won't
hate you,
buy
but by the
cigars
way,
from you, but we're going
that's
to
right.
use part of your island. Oh,
But
we're
here's
not going
what's
to use
really
it in a
funny.
good way. It's going to be full of nasty
When
people. You okay
you
with that?
meet
Cool.
here's the funny part. When you meet US diplomats and US officers from different military branches and you smoke cigars, they're all smoking Cuban cigars.
Well, of
Like
course
outside the
they are,
United
because as
States,
you
they're all
said,
smoking. Yeah, they're all smoking Cubans. They don't care. And I chuckle at
yeah.
that. And I smoke Cubans and non-Cubans all day long,
Well,
and then some
it,
cigars. So
and it's the same thing. I mean, when I lived in the US and they said, "Oh, the drinking age is 21," and I went, "Really?
yeah,
Okay, of course it's 21, because nobody under 21 is having any alcohol whatsoever." I
that
mean,
is
for
true.
the love of God, grow up. But hey, we'll
Right
send them to war, but don't drink
at
alcohol,
16,
because that
right?
is really, you can't. So you got kids
I'll,
leaving school at 17, 18 that
go fight.
are going to college, and of course they are not touching a drop of alcohol. What I'm trying to say is you've got look, there's plenty of ridiculous things here too. And back in my homeland of the UK, there's plenty of stupid laws going back thousands of years. But I'm
Right.
just focused on these odd ones because I think, okay, so you've got a slice of Cuba who you don't like, but you send your prisoners to, but you won't smoke their cigars, and you're sending kids to college, because that everyone studies there studiously and doesn't touch alcohol until they're 21. They go, "Well, look, mom. Well, look, dad. I'm going to have my first taste of a beer. Good
Yeah.
God!" Anyway, sorry.
Wait, I'll give you one better. When I was growing up, the legal drinking age was 18, and then they changed it
Well,
to
yeah.
21.
Why?
And I remember my first beer at 12, 2 weeks before my bar mitzvah. And I was telling the story the other day to somebody because they asked me. I said, "Yep, I went to a friend's party. The guy's name was Jerry. The other friend was Rick. And I remember
Yeah.
we were they get try some beers. I'm like, okay. So I like 12 beers later. I'm like, this is great. On the way home, I didn't realize that wasn't a good thing. And then I did, as we call it, the Technicolor yawn. And then I went home and made love to the porcelain god, and I made it a Olympic event for 2 days.
Right.
And I said to my
Right.
mom as I'm dying, I want to die. And my mom
Be
comes
kind
into
of
the
work.
bathroom,
Yeah.
sees it, and
Yeah.
she looks at me and she goes, good, and walked out. And that was it. So I have never drank a beer from that point. Maybe like a little bit, like a Grosh or a Killigan's Red when I have like oysters. But I will say, when I was a kid, my dad would say, go get me. He'd be doing something, go get a beer. You'd bring the beer and he goes, you can have a sip. So you'd have a little sip and go, oh, cool. You're like 8 years old taking a sip of beer. It's like neat. And it was like no big deal. So when you're 12 and you're an idiot, you're like, I'm going to have, like, I can drink a can or 7 of them or 10, and no, I'll be fine. And I learned no. And I think a lot of that's the reason I really don't drink today beer. I drink scotch, but I drink it moderately. Like I don't,
Right.
I'm not like, if you will, Dean Martin. Like I'm not constantly like with a flask. Like everybody loves somebody. So I think that,
Everybody.
yeah. And I'm very cognizant of drunk driving. So if I'm going somewhere and I have to drink, if I know I'm going to drink, I live in New York, it didn't matter. I can walk everywhere, but anywhere else, I just Uber. Like if I know I'm going to a party, I'll Uber.
I just think it's crazy because, and again, I just want to remind everybody, don't give a shit what we say, right?
That's
Okay,
right.
good.
Well, except don't drink and drive.
Don't drink. Well, don't do that exactly. But I think, I mean, I don't have vast experience with this, but I mean, when our kids were growing up, we said, yeah, have a sip of wine, have a sip of this,
Sure.
and they went, oh, that's horrible.
Yep.
And the weird thing is, neither of them are particularly interested in alcohol. My son, like me, I'm not a beer person. I'll enjoy wine. Scotch is a bit burny for me. It's not really my thing. But it's just alcohol. That's what it is. And like anything, if you don't, our philosophy was we want to teach our kids, this is it. You're going to come across this in life, like porn. You've got to know what it is. Prepare yourself.
Right.
And it's not like if we don't tell you about it, it's never going to come into your life, because it
That's
will.
true. Right.
On your phone or in your uncle's garage,
Yeah.
whatever. These things
I don't think they have
happen.
the uncle's garage thing anymore, like where you find the dirty magazines under the bed. I don't think they have
Oh,
those
you
anymore.
wouldn't
Now it's
know.
all on the
Come on, Steve.
internet.
I remember this actually is true. I was at my uncle's place, and we were all trying to figure out what a Morris engine was, and we were all, and of course there was a picture of a lady on the wall, and we were all, oh shit, broke that, and we were 12, 13 at the time, and that, okay, so that's a thing. What I'm saying is, that is a parenting thing, and it's an extraordinary thing. Laws are one thing. You don't want people going around drinking and driving, so be very clear on that. Be very clear on that. But I just think that if you, let's say people actually followed that law and didn't touch alcohol until they were 21.
Yeah.
What's changed? It's something brand new you've never come across, and suddenly, and you've no idea how to deal with it, what the context for it is, and suddenly you go, oh, geez, I'm going to have my first, look, I'm 21 and I'm having a beer. It's one of those laws that to me it seems like a good idea, but it's really bullshit, and don't waste time on it. Rather just give the kids a beer when they're 12, and just say, here you go, Johnny. How's 10 beers? And you'll never touch the shit again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, nope, we're good. Never again.
I don't think you're solving anything by pretending that, no beer for you. You're 19. Come on, please. Come on. Anyway, again, you can ignore at your pleasure. This is just there we go. I got a text about it right there. Someone's responding immediately to my bullshit, which is true. Yeah. Anyway, so you got these laws about cigars, which clearly no one follows, about alcohol, which, no one follows. And it's just, what's the point?
Listen, you have laws on the books for cocaine, and now cannabis is getting legalized everywhere, and heroin and all this other stuff.
Well,
at the end of the day, I'm like, legalize it all, tax it. And if you give it in a controlled situation, because like we have these drug cartels. Okay, well, if I say I'm the president, right? And I go, okay, you know what? Tomorrow I'm legalizing cocaine and heroin, but the only way you can do it is at a whatever kind of like a medical center or whatever you want to call, like a cannabis center, and they'll administrate it so you don't overdose and you don't do this and blah blah blah. Okay, so now that then the cartels, okay, you can bring it in, but we're going to tax you. So now this $1 trillion industry now has a tax. Where's the allure? Like, what I mean? Now it's like drinking. It's like, I'm sure during Prohibition, it was like, ooh, I'm having a drink. And now it's like, okay. I think it's
one thing I will say about here in South Africa is, first of all, there's a lot of things that are wrong, but I'm not going to go on that route. By the way, I just want to, as a side note, we don't want Elon back. You can keep him. Stop. Suddenly everyone who doesn't like him is throwing in the fact that he's from South Africa. That was never a thing before. All of a sudden, Elon Musk, South Africa born. First of all, can I just say this? When have you ever referred to someone as America born? They're American born. So please put an N in there. It's South African born. Yes, he is. And we don't want him back, just by the way. He is fully American. He's an African American, so keep him. So, but one thing that's really good about this place is they got over that whole, look, I'm not a weed guy. We've already had this discussion. I'm not a weed guy. My son indulges occasionally. I don't care. What am I going to do? He's 24. I'm going to stop him, please. But the thing about weed, here it's called, they call it dacha. That's what they call it, which I think is quite a nice word for it. Dacha. Very nice. Marijuana, Mary Jane, whatever the hell you want to call it. There are stores. In fact, our local little fancy Stepford Wives type mall
Yeah.
It is. And you got the pedicure store, and then you've got the the toenails and the fancy clothes, and then in
Sure.
between them and the fancy restaurant. Seriously, in between them, boom, cannabis store. Fantastic. Fantastic. Who
Love it.
cares? And it's so ordinary here and so boring. No one cares.
And we got
And but
cannabis every other
but
corner
before
here
they
too.
did that, there was this massive illicit trade. And
Yeah.
who knows where the stuff was coming from, who was getting killed to ship the stuff in,
Hmm.
what they were putting in it. And I have to say, no one cares. It's is it worse than booze? I don't think so. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but it literally is so normal. And I think it's
So
calming the place down. I think people are more calmer. Just don't get behind the wheel of a car, for the
yeah.
love of God.
Well, we did a deal a few years back with a cannabis company in Oregon, and we went through their plant or their lab, and they literally had PhDs from MIT and Harvard, and yeah, I'm talking about like guys, molecular structure guys. And I said, and I've never tried cannabis, so I wouldn't know. But they were talking. I got to try the chocolate without the cannabis. The chocolate was delicious. Then when they infused it, I'm like, no, I'm good. But they were telling me that it's all the THC. THC, like they said,
Mm,
they can make it that you have the munchies. They said they can
mm.
make it that you alleviates pain, it kills inflammation.
Yes,
Like they were going through
yes,
everything
I've
it
heard
does.
that.
So
Yeah,
so when you go to their store, and they had a bunch of them, and their stores looked like they were like 5-star restaurants. But when you would go to the store, which they took us to, um, you can go in there and say to the consigliere or concierge behind the counter, and you go, you know what, I have inflammation in my arm. He goes, oh, you want this, blah 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 blah. Or if you say I have trouble sleeping, oh, you want this, and it's all based on the THC and what they do and how they manipulate it. And I was like,
yeah,
that I thought was fat. The chemistry behind it is fascinating.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
I thought that was cool. And they're like, "You sure you don't want to try it?" I'm like, "No, I'm a cigar guy, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm good.
That's my drug of choice. Yeah, I'm good." But I was very cool. And then they about the gummies so I learned a lot about it that I didn't know. And I thought that was very interesting. So I'm assuming the ones that are coming up now are just as sophisticated, or unless they're buying it from these guys. But it was interesting. And I don't know if our banks are taking their money still, because that was their biggest problem, is that banks won't take their money. Federal banks, state banks could take their money, but not federal, because
What
it's
do you mean?
still against the law. So marijuana is still a class whatever drug on the federal statute, right? So you can
Okay.
get, so if you're a federal bank, like JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of
Yeah.
America, in theory, you're not allowed to take cannabis money, because that would be breaking a federal law. Because not just because it's legal in your state, that doesn't mean it's legal everywhere. So there
Okay.
was a couple banks in the Pacific Northwest, in Oregon specifically, that were state charter, because the state had legalized it. And somebody woke up and they're like, oh, I'm a state bank, we'll take cannabis money. And they took
We'll take your
cannabis
money.
money. Yeah. But as the guy said, he said, and the cannabis people said as well, the feds can come in at any time and raid us, because it's still, just because it's legal locally doesn't mean it's legal federally. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm not sure if they've legalized it federally here yet, or if it's just state by state still.
I don't know. I one thing I did realize during my time in the States, and
Right.
who knows, I may return. I don't know. I still think it's a great place, but it's
You and
not
McCarthy?
one country. This
Yeah.
is what I say to people. I say, you
Yep.
have to realize it's 9. Look, I don't know what the miles thing are. I deal in metric. It's about 9 million square kilometers. It's a big ass piece of territory.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit down with a guy from Oklahoma and you tell him he sounds like a Texan, he'll slap you. I
Yeah.
mean, there are
They're into
wars,
that now.
there are cultural wars being fought across state lines.
Mhm.
Some serious, some not so serious,
That's right.
and that's fine. That's great. I remember when I first got there, I got one of those big shell map books, before GPS,
Yeah, the Atlas,
and
sure.
I remember at the beginning of it, it told you, right, in this state, this is the laws, these are the laws about tires, and they change for every state.
Mhm.
Obviously, it was to do with what the travel laws were in each different state. Some
Right.
states you could pull over to the shoulder, others you couldn't, and there were certain hours you could do it. And that was when I first went to the US. That was, I thought, oh, but I like that. I like
Right.
that fragmented, because it's states. They're
Yeah.
little countries. but I will say sometimes it gets to the point of being ridiculous because it's one flag but myriad laws, and it just gets. I mean, sometimes it must be really confusing because certainly when it comes to things like gay marriage, drug use, I don't know, abortions. God, there's so many different laws. It must be really, I don't know. It's a bit confusing. I mean, at some point you want to say, I mean, I've explained the differences. I mean, which are great, but at some point, basic humanity should kind of be the same. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking shit. I don't know.
Well, the Orange Man's going to do that now, so we're good. So we got that.
You're all one. He's going to remove the state lines. It's going to be all Donnie.
Donnie's country.
And that's it. Yeah. And no more elections, Steve. No more elections, buddy.
No more of that crap. So
that's great. Surely, but that's great. I mean, wait, hang on a second. You're going to save a fortune on campaign funding. I mean, big money. How much did they spend on billions, right?
Billions.
You can take that and sponsor drug education. I don't know. Wait, no. You can buy everybody abortions. I don't know. I'm
you
just
know what?
kidding.
You know what
no,
you're
I'm
do?
not.
As the new cigars are for the Trump administration. We're
yes.
just going to use that money to import the cigars to piss off Usman from the cigar show because he'll be very hurt.
Build a bridge.
So there you go. And not only will we bring the cigars across, and it'll be.
Why don't you just get it over with and build a tunnel or a bridge? Wait a minute. Elon's got the Boring Company. He can make a tunnel for you from Cuba to Florida. Listen, Elon. I know you're listening because you're always looking for affirmation. Listen properly. You'll know why I'm saying that, because we've got a politician here who sounds like listen properly. Mate, you should do that. Big money. The cigar market is massive, mate.
Huge.
Forget Tesla.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Get rid of X and all that shit. Start the tunnel between Cuba and it's going to save everybody a fortune, because I mean, the guys, you can start a boating business for the people that can't afford the tunnel fare, and then you can ship, and the cigars will stay dry. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
That's the important thing. They have to stay dry.
Yes. Right?
Once they get wet, it's no good. So
you can have a bullet underground train. I mean, get it over with. It's happening already. So I mean, come on.
Well, they did it to Channel Tunnel from London to France.
Yes, exactly. Have you ever been on that? Have you been on that?
Yeah.
It's It's the most extraordinary thing because, as you know, I'm a bit of a Francophile. I enjoy France. I do.
Right.
I love what the French are about. I get annoyed with my English family over there who've got things to say about the French. People are like, that's all bollocks. Just try and learn that language for the love of God. It's basic. I mean, English is badly pronounced French. I mean, that's just a fact. It is. It's badly pronounced French. All right. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But the coolest thing is the way they're basically part of the same country now. There's a tunnel that links them. They share soil. Share soil. So why not? I don't know.
And they're women. But we took the train. I liked it. It's really cool. You take the train and then the train goes into the tunnel. And then for like 30, 40 minutes, whatever it was, then you pop out and you're in Bonjourland. And I'm like, oh, look at that.
Bonjour.
Exciting for me.
Je vais aller en français.
Parlez-vous français, whatever. I went to the Louvre. It's like, oh, goody, the Louvre paintings. And everyone checks this Mona Lisa chick out. I'm like, all right, I've seen her. We're good. Let's go look at some other things.
Can I just say, if you're planning on going to France and you're going to the Louvre and you want to go and see the Mona Lisa, don't bother. It's about that. It's about that big. And there's probably someone who's thrown mud at it. It's just not worth it. It really isn't. Just go to the next room. You've got these ceiling to floor murals that are great. Those are impressive. But I mean, the Mona Lisa, I mean, Leonardo da Vinci was probably high on crack when he painted it anyway.
I think so.
And
I do like the Louvre is great. It's a 4 days or 5 days to see the whole thing. We actually, the people I went with got a tour guide, like their own personal tour person. And it was this little French girl. And I never forgot this because, we're us. And they were, and she goes, because you can go with the group, and I'm like, I don't go with the group.
Nah,
That's
don't
my
do
story.
that. Don't do
And
that.
so
Don't
we
go
were,
with the group. Never go with the group.
uh,
No,
and
agree.
she said, well, it usually takes 4 or 5 days. Is there anything specific you want to see? And
Yeah,
all us New Yorkers are like, kid, we want to see the whole thing today. Chop, chop. So,
yeah. Do it
so
now.
like,
Do it. Do it. I got
do it.
30 minutes. Let's go.
And then as we're doing the tour with her, if we got to a room or paintings we didn't like, she'd be like, "This, we don't care. Okay, just go on to the next one."
Now,
Like,
what happened when you
awesome.
got? What happened when you got to the Mona Lisa? What the hell is this crap?
We have all been there before. It was for
Yeah.
one of the guy's wives who hasn't, so we decided we'd make it. But so we've all seen it. And to your point, it's probably like the picture of it, like it is like maybe this big and this big. The
Yeah.
frame is huge, and
Exactly.
behind 47,000 things of glass, like you can't
I
get really
know.
close to it. And people are clicking and flashing. And I said to the girl, and I don't know if this is true. She's like, "Yeah, the real Mona Lisa is like in the safe in the basement. That's like a knockoff because all the flash photography and stuff will kill
Okay,
it."
that makes sense.
Yeah, like I could see that. So I'm like, it's very cool, but it's like I'm good. And so we did what you said. We went and saw everything else, and
Yeah,
that
please
was the
do.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
people
mean,
wait in line for certain things, and with her, it was like an express
I mean,
pass.
Da Vinci's sitting there going there with his
Yeah,
beer or whatever he's going. What is this? Why? This is something I clean my paintbrushes on. It's just a stupid little
and they
stamp
think it's
picture.
him. He painted himself as a woman. They think.
So this was the first transgender man, woman. It's
I
somebody.
have a book. I literally have a book that's this thick about Leonardo da Vinci, and
Oh,
I
so
thought it'd
it's
be
a self-portrait,
fascinating.
is it?
They think so. They're
Or
not
an
sure. Like there's debate.
imagined.
Yeah, but here's the funny part about this whole thing. I'm reading this book. It's 700 pages about Leonardo da Vinci, and you're gonna
What?
love this. And I'm
What?
excited to read about Leonardo da Vinci, how he thinks and what he did, and blah blah blah. So what I learned from the book is he basically was a homosexual or bisexual, which I don't care.
Cool.
He had all these
Okay.
lovers, and a lot of them are the ones who painted these famous paintings or helped or sculptures. And then the best part was, out of the 750 pages, there's 200 pages of like historical fact. The next 500 pages of this book is
Yep.
all about his pen impression on the paper. And I'm talking about whoever did to the millimeter. And I'm like, okay, yep, pen. I mean, I was just like, okay, I like Leonardo, not that much. But I was talking
No.
about this pressure about this and how he did it. It's fascinating. But by the 70th page of more pen pressure, I was like, I'm good. It's like, like, is there a part that talks more about the history of it? But yeah, the book was fascinating, other than the pen point pressure. But yeah, it's
So
like,
so there's a theory that was an imagined
no,
self.
they said he had probably a mirror, and I forgot where I saw it, but they were showing things of Leonardo and Mona Lisa, and they said some of it's kind of looks like it may
Oh,
be him. And I was like, oh,
maybe
that's
it's his
interesting.
mother. Maybe it's
Yeah,
his mother. I don't know.
maybe. I don't think that's what everybody said. Nobody knows who Mona Lisa is.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's going to be maybe it's something he imagined. Either maybe a lady he wanted to,
Oh, I thought he was more into men, from what I gathered from the book.
All right, well, all right, well then okay. So what he did is he did the whole Elton thing where he pretended to like women
I
for a
don't think he
while.
pretended at all.
All right, okay, but I mean, or George, but I'm saying, so but yeah, he didn't want to get his head chopped off at the time. So he thought,
Right.
all right, so it's a guy that he liked, and then he,
Maybe, yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
or he was very in love with himself, and that was him. What he would wished he could be, I don't know.
Maybe. You know what's really
What
fat?
a lot of
This is why sometimes when people say if you could time, I would love to go back and just ask questions to these guys. To me, it would be just fat because they don't know how famous they would be today. And I was just like, where'd you come up with
I,
the idea of the helicopter, or where'd you come up with the? I would just want to know about that.
well, on his home planet, he brought it from his home planet. But well, I mean, the Egyptians did. Come on, that's all aliens. I mean, it's a fact.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this, but I think one thing I do know is if we could go back, what is it, 400 years or whenever when Leonardo was around, and if we could bring him back here, he would, and we'd say, come and have a look at your Mona Lisa painting. We'd be standing there in the Louvre looking at his painting, and you'd go, what are these people getting so excited about? This is
Yeah.
the worst things I ever did. I went out to a party. I was drunk as a skunk. I came back. I imagined myself as a woman. And this is what you take away from. What about, why isn't the helicopter blueprint here? What is this? Why are
Because Gates
you
owns it.
kidding me? This is
Yeah.
what you think of me? This crap of all the things. I mean, I had a man painted like this, the whole,
Yeah.
and that should be here. This is the size of my nutsack. Come on, what is that? Why is
But-
this here? I mean,
and-
Steve, it's just he would be very surprised. I'm sure he'd
And
be
that's
going.
why they say never meet your heroes. Because it would
Yes.
be, could you imagine?
Oh,
Oh my God.
oh,
If you go back and just
no.
read Attila the Hun,
Oh.
Genghis Khan, all of these guys.
Or he'd probably say, "You guys, I didn't paint this. Michelangelo painted this. You dumb fucks. This is not me. Come on." And you've had it wrong for what, 400 years. And
That
by the way,
museum
it
was
was Galileo Galilei that came up with the helicopter thing. Do I look like a scientist to you? I don't know.
I think it's fascinating, and unfortunately, you can't go back as far as I know. But I mean, if you could, to me, that would be wild. That would just be to ask them, what were you thinking? What was your thought process?
I don't think he was thinking. He was going, "Oh."
But no, when he was drawing the helicopter and the human body and all that, then that to me, the submarine, and I'd be like, so what were you thinking? Like, what made you come up with these ideas? I know he said he looked at a bird and he goes, oh, we can, but like, there has to be more to it than I looked at a bird.
You know what
You
he
know
would
what I
say?
mean?
Hey, Leonardo, yes. Do I know Elon Musk? No, I don't know him. Just
Click. And you can, and don't send him back to South Africa.
no.
So
please,
before we leave, because this is the last show of 2025, and then
Yes.
you're going to take a few weeks
Yes.
off before you come
Mm.
back from 2020 or 2020 last show of 2024. You'll be
Yes.
back in 2025. Do you have anything you want to say to the fan?
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Because I
Jewish,
say
so
that
means
because
nothing.
I see there's so many people getting offended by it, and I'm going, I don't care because it's really a retail holiday anyway. So what does it
And we
matter?
invented it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
It's all
Thank you.
us. Yeah, we did.
Copyright, what, 1952, the Mattel Corporation. I don't know, whatever. It's so. There was a whole thing going on. Somebody said Happy Christmas instead of Merry, or Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. Oh my God.
I just say happy
Really?
holidays because I figure it's that way I cover everybody because you got Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
You know what though?
Christmas, and that's it.
Okay, let me be brutal here because I don't care. You just get to a point you go, I can't include everybody. I know what Kwanzaa is. I'm not going to pretend I know what it is. I mean,
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. What am I wish? I have no idea. I'd look like a happy Kwanzaa, and they go, "No,
I
it's
don't say
supposed
happy
to be these
Kwanzaa
words." Like, okay, I'll take it back. Don't
Yeah.
have. Please don't enjoy whatever that is.
Right.
Just the love of God. I know Hanukkah this year is actually on the same day.
Yeah,
Is it?
very
I think
excited
so.
about that.
But Steve, there's so many people pretending to be things they're not.
Right.
People that are in schools wearing the wrong bathing costume. I'm just saying, there's so many people pretending to be something they're not, knowing things that they clearly don't. So just, if you celebrate Christmas, say Merry Christmas. If you Hanukkah, stick with that. Just go with what you got. You can't include everybody. Stop trying to do it. Forget about it. Don't. Why are we've gotten to a point in the world where we're trying to include everybody, and everybody's offended, and everybody is disconnected. It's not going well.
No,
It's not going well. Just do what you love, be yourself, and if people don't like it, well, that's really their problem and not yours.
And I will tell you, yesterday when I was walking the dog, on her leash, and not the one with 2 legs, but the one with 4 legs, because we got to walk them all.
Hang on, noted.
Yeah, noted. Yeah, I'll need that later.
Right.
Jehovah Witnesses come up to me while we're walking, and they go, "May I talk to you about this scripture?" And I just started to chuckle, and I was like, "Which one?" And they looked at me, and they're like, "Well," I go, "Well, your magic underwear crap, or the Mesopotamian ones, Karl Marx, the Little Red Book from Mao. I said, or the make-believe fairy tale thing you guys call a Bible that you left 18 books out. I go, which scripture do you want to talk to me about? I said, I bow to my God 5 days, 5 times a day. And they were like, oh, I go, it's the Federal Reserve in New York City. I said, and they go, I go, have a good day, boys. I turn around, and they go, oh, thank you, sir. And then they go, God bless you. And I turn around and go, he will. And I just kept going. And that was like, believe me, like, you're stopping me at 6 o'clock at night. I'm walking. I don't want to talk about that. If I want to talk about it, have an intellectual dialogue, it's not going to be with two guys in a white shirt and a tie. You know what I'm saying?
I
I'm
had
talking about a book.
I knew a chap. He was a hell of a decent chap. He was made the most amazing steak. He was a chef, one of the restaurants in Cape Town, and used to go there quite often. And I remember him telling us that on a Sunday morning, he would get someone would knock on his door at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
He really got the shits about it because he put a sign on the door and he said, please don't knock. I am a chef. I work all night on Saturday. Don't knock on this door.
Yeah.
And they did. So he went to the door, stark naked. And look, I'm just going to tell you what he said. He said, listen, guys, listen. I found Jesus. He's drunk and he's in the kitchen. I made him a great steak. He doesn't want to talk to you right now. So I have found him. You guys have a nice day and come back at a decent hour. And by the way, he was stark naked. No, look, I always said, I respect somebody trying to do that. I'm not gonna camp all over them. They're just trying to be nice. It's fine. We found some candy. We'd like to tell you about some candy. I get that, but you don't have to do it at 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And especially when the man who was a chef has put a sign on his door and said, listen, guys, I'm tired. I work on a Saturday night. He even said to them, you can come on a Sunday afternoon, we'll have a beer and talk. You can come to the kitchen, I'll make you a steak. But they never followed through on that. So he was actually being very decent about it. He said, look, you can come back at a proper hour for me. You talk to me, come back at 3. I'm going to be slightly wasted, getting ready for the night shift because Sundays are slow.
I love it.
They're slow, right?
Yeah.
I'll make you guys a steak. If you don't eat a steak, you're not welcome. I don't talk to vegans or vegetarians.
Good boy.
You come and I'll make you a steak. It'll be on the house and we can chat. I like to chat. And they never did. They insisted on coming on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and waking this poor guy up. And let me tell you, if you're a chef, I mean, it's everyone goes, oh, I want to open a restaurant. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can fund one, invest in one, but you don't want to work in a restaurant. Are you insane?
We owned one in New York City that did very well. And the happiest day was when we opened it and we closed it. I was happy with that. But I will say one thing with the guys in with the white shirts. I think they got the hint also when I let my dog and I said to my dog, attack. I think at that point they realized, okay, we need to go. I was like, I'm good with that. So don't bother me when I'm walking. We're out. We're out for a special moment. Yeah.
So you understand the man is working his ass off all Saturday into Sunday. 3, 4 o'clock. And when the last guests go, he doesn't go. He's got to clean up the kitchen and do whatever and then actually prepare some stuff for the next day. He'll be lucky if he puts his head on the pillow at 6 a.m. And 2 hours later, there are people banging on the door, ignoring his note, and he's going, listen, I'm not going to talk to you nicely. And no, I'm not putting
I don't blame him.
Because it's summer and it's hot. Now piss off.
But I agree with you. And like if you're such a godly person, read the friggin' note, unless you can't read. So I don't care about your magic underwear. Go away. But like I said, it's just I think that's great if you want to do it. I just really driving around the neighborhood trying to talk to people like get the like if I thought to myself, it's a good thing we're not in New York.
I think the problem is, and I try to take a sort of devil's advocate view on this. Sorry, I mean God advocate, devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it. Same thing. But I understand. I respect the motive. I do. I respect that. It must be tough walking up to people like Stephen and I get it. But understand that if you were approached at a time when it was your time, you wouldn't be happy about it either. So figure a way how to talk to people Offer them something. I don't know, a
If you give me
subscription.
$100, you
Buy
could
them
talk
a
to me.
meal. Yeah.
Yeah, $100.
You know,
You want to talk
this is
about
the way.
scripture? $100.
Work like a proper telemarketer. That's what
Yeah,
you do. Do
yeah. Give
that.
me $100. I'll listen to you for 5 minutes.
And you know you're going to get lots of rejections. But I think if you just consider where people are,
Yeah,
where they are in their day and their
yeah,
schedule and their time,
yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to suddenly talk to you, but just
Think.
consider your market. Just think
Yeah.
about where people are and what they're doing, and then come to
Don't
them
wake
nice and
chefs up
say,
at 7
"Do
o'clock
you
in the morning,
mind?"
and don't talk to people walking their dogs because they're in their own little world with their dog. They don't give a shit what you're
Yeah,
going to tell them. Now, $100, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Goes
man.
for-
What's in it for me? What am I
Yeah.
getting out of this?
Well, the nice thing is, since I've read all the books, I kind of knew, and it was just fun because I've had this happen before. So I always start off with like when they say scripture, I go through all of it from Mesopotamia up to Mao and everything in between, and then their golden underwear crap. And I'm like, where do you want to go with this? And they just look at me and they go like, we're gonna, I go, no. And then when they say God, I'm like, you mean the God that the Catholic Church came up with in 60 CE? That God, or you want to talk about gods? And then they don't know what to do because they've never been taught that because they wear white shirts and they believe in golden underwear. And I'm like, yeah, I got all day to do this, but I'm not in the mood tonight. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, we can play this game. I actually read books. I'm not like brainwashed, which is the bad part. They really need to teach them about all of this. So if someone brings it up, they can retort, but they can't.
I'm just saying that they need to. The advice I would give is just
Yeah.
work on your marketing a bit better. That's all.
Yes. Work on your marketing, and the guys with the dog collar, stop touching little boys.
That's all.
Anyway,
You know,
there you go. Hey, everybody, have a happy and healthy. This is going to air on the 26th of December. So it'll be after Gentile holiday. Hanukkah's for 8 days. So happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. If we missed your Christmas, yeah, we don't care. Happy Boxing Day. New Year's is coming up for the Gentiles, the Jews. We got to wait till September again. Go ahead.
the only thing I would say out of all of this, the only
Yeah.
little sage thing, first of all, I don't give advice ever because really, you're not going to listen to this. But the only thing I would say is something that's worked for me over the last year, and I'm going to do it more next year, and that is don't listen to shit like this.
Yeah. No, listen to this. This is the only thing you should listen to.
Figure out you before anybody else. Just stop with this. If
We're
you see
entertainment.
something online that purports to tell you how your life can be revolutionized and how this person destroyed that one, I would say stay clear of it. Don't listen to it. Watch it and laugh.
Yep.
And by the way, so here's what I wanted to say, Steve. Here we go. Read more as in actual, I've actually written this down. Read more as in actual books, not the shit online. Read books with paper. Okay. Listen more.
Hold on.
Listen
There's
more.
a book.
That's what it is. There you go.
There's
Listen more. If you want to find out something medical, get hold of a doctor, get hold of a scientist, not a politician, not a YouTube vlogger from Louisiana, wherever. Nothing wrong with Louisiana. If you're a scientist from Louisiana, that's fine. But actual experts do that. And just think more, just like actual thoughts. And really don't concern yourself with what people think. Ordinary people. There are some good people, but that's up to you to. We had this discussion on the other financial show the other day.
Yeah.
The reason why we're in the mess we're in politically, economically, where you are, where we are, where the UK is because we've got so many people making decisions and they've thought that they don't know what they're doing. They just don't know what they're doing. And that's where we are. So we've got to just take a beat, get some proper facts.
And my mantra has been my entire life is it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't get upset about things. And then the other part is you kick in the door and you always go forward, not up, down, around, or straight. You go forward. And as long as you do that, you're moving forward. And that's all you can ask for, whether it's in your life or your job. And it is what it is. If something happens, can't get upset. It's happened. You're done. You fix it. You make it better and you go. And that's it. And that's how I look at things. I don't stress about anything anymore. And I'm good with that.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
All right, everybody, have a happy and healthy. We'll see you in 2026. I think the second week of January, Mr. Vega will be back, or the third week. He will be here to lay some wisdom, as they say. So we hope you enjoy 2024. We'll see you all next year. Bye, everybody. Cheers. Don't forget to subscribe and like, by the way.
Thank you so much for listening to this Rolled Woods Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.